All right, welcome everybody to Stock Analysis Friday. Great to have everybody here and happy May. And today we're going to, of course, look at stocks that are of interest to you. And basically what you're going to be doing is typing in the stocks for me to look at in the comments area. So, and just type in it in caps because that makes it easier for me to see. And let's do 3 at a time because if we do too many at one time, it slows the process down. And we're only going to be here for about a half an hour, so we want to keep it moving. Also, too, when you type in the stocks, let me know if you're long or currently short, or if you're just thinking about it. Okay, we have a lot of people here that get suggestions from a variety of different sources and then bring it here, and we take a look at it technically using the applied reality software created by traderscoach.com. All right, so let's go ahead and jump in. I got a few administrational items to cover. First thing, of course, are the risks involved in trading. Like I always say, without that risk, there is no opportunity. And that pretty much is anything we do in life, right? But you want to know your downside. You want to know what you're taking in terms of risk. So always, calculate that very carefully so you know what you're getting into. Always trade with money you can afford to risk, called risk capital, and know how to do risk control in each and every trade. I got a couple of books I'll show you in a minute that can help you with that. And then finally, past performance doesn't guarantee future performance because we deal in a realm of probabilities when we trade and invest in the markets. So please keep that in mind. And anything I do recommend, run those by your financial advisor or whoever manages your money to be sure they're suitable for you. I don't know your personal situation, and they certainly will. And also, too, finally, don't forget, we're announcing this over the internet. So I don't know, we may or may not take a position in the stock itself. So be aware of that as well. All right. So first thing I want to cover too is for those of you interested in getting into day trading, we're big into that. We like to trade the NASDAQ. We use a prop firm called Apex Trading Funding. It's a great way to get started in day trading the markets because basically you're not risking your own capital. And when you subscribe to these, they do have a set of rules you have to work within. But eventually, if you're successful, you will get to a funded account where you can actually start earning money. So a lot of people are doing this now because this is so accessible to everybody. And they give you free data for the futures market. And so if you're interested in that, they're having an 80% sale right now. And I'll put a link below in the recording for you to sign up for that. All right, a couple books I want to suggest to you. First of all, the books on money management. We've got 2 of them up there. Either one of those is great. My new book, The Art of Trading, second from the left, came out in January of this year. And so far it's doing really, really good, which I hoped it would simply because I felt it was the best book I've ever written. It's 608 pages, so it's pretty detailed. If you're interested in the Elliott Wave, I got a book on there. And then the Survival Guide for Traders is a lot of good information on running your trading business right out of your home, like a hedge fund. So I'll put a link in the recording for these as well. This is our software that we use, the Applied Reality Trading Software, the OWL, PTF, TLM, and ERA indicators. We have scanners, and we have risk control software as well. And I will put a link in the recording for that. And then finally, just give us a like since you're here today. Good to have you here. And I'm going to just jump on in real quick and go over some of the charts from last weekend. I always like to bring these into the trading room. So we had a move down. This is the Dow Jones. Okay, I'll go over the NASDAQ and the S&P in just a minute. But let's make it really quick. So we had this double top here and a head and shoulders pattern here. And then that sold off to where we got into this level here. And now we've experienced a bounce. So we kind of think we're going to get up into this territory here. It's getting up around 41,297 as of today. So we're still kind of hovering, right pretty much where we are. But it wouldn't be surprised me if we get up to here. And then I got to think we're going to head back down. So we're going to keep an eye on that. We certainly got a red PTF there. Some people are calling this a bear market. And we certainly don't want to be not thinking that it's possible. It certainly is, but it's got to sell off quite a bit before I would classify this as currently in the bear market. So the first leg down really would have been this one, and now we're getting a bounce. So we're going to see what happens on the next move down. So eventually I am anticipating taking out the bottom here that occurred way back in this area here in April. So we'll see what happens with that. We have reached a long-term wave 5 target zone. So that's kind of something we got to keep an eye on. And that target zone is built on the trend that started back in 2009. So it's been a heck of a bull trend overall, only interrupted by COVID, to be honest with you. So, pretty amazing. All right, so if it goes below 32,327 on this chart, that's a major support area. And we anticipate it going below 36,611 at some point after this dead cat bounce, so to speak, is over. So just keep that in mind. If things change, I'll let you know next week. On the S&P 500, same thing, okay? We're going up to this area here, which is basically an area of structure from previous highs. So not unlikely to get back up there, but we still have some of our indicators that we rely on as being red. This indicator here is a 75% probability, so it's quite good. So when it's basically showing red, you find the lowest low in the red area, and there's a 75% chance that's going to return and take that out. So that's why we're looking at this as a dead cat bounce. So we'll see what happens with that. On the NASDAQ, we've got a similar situation, red PTFs at the bottom, and we're starting to butt up against the structure from the previous point earlier. So we'll keep an eye on these. But so far, market's looking pretty good today. Bitcoin is doing really excellent. So that's kind of cool. All right, so let's drop down out of here, and we'll start taking a look at some of the live markets here. So give me 1 second on that, and we'll come out. And I do want to go over Bitcoin for a moment here. And on Bitcoin here, my target is 129 roughly to 164. Currently, right now, we're at 103. So as I said before, I think when I showed you this before, I said this area here was a good buying opportunity. It was basically a Fibonacci retracement indicating a wave 4. So 3, 4, 5. So this is our target for Bitcoin, and that's also going to bleed over to GBTC too as well. So just want to cover that real quick before I jump into stocks. So let's go ahead and get going. And Al, how are you? Let's go dive in here. DHI and see what's cooking on that. Thinking about a short on that. Okay, let's take a look. All right, so give that a second to load. All right, so I would not do a short here. Okay, I think you missed the downtrend. I think we're due for a bounce at this point. Is that bounce going to be just a dead cat bounce or a new move up? I think probably we'll take a look at the basic retracements on this daily chart, and we kind of hit it perfectly. So we may be in for a more sustained trend now to the upside. So no more short on that. If anything, I actually would be thinking about a possible long at some point, but we still have a fairly bearish owl on the weekly, but on the daily chart, the short is too late. Okay, so don't do that. All right, OC, at least I don't recommend doing it. OC, let's take a look and see where we're going there. And give that a second to load. Okay, so on OC here, similar situation. It does look like this one at least could go down a little further. We may have had the bounce, and that's all we're going to get. But again, I would have liked it if you had brought this way up here or even here when it started taking out these support levels. So again, I think it's a little late for that. I think there may be some other short candidates. So do a little more scanning, and let's take a look at some others that you may find. And here you are back already with OKE. OKE. Okay, let's take a look at OKE. All right, give me a second. Let that all load there. Meantime, let me just pull these indicators down a little bit. Okay, so if we take a look at this one here, again, a short. This at least you have a red PTF. So I guess on this one here, all right, if you wanted to go short here, This is basically our target. Let's see if we have any structure coming up here. We got quite a bit here that stopped it there. It may want to just take out the liquidity here. So maybe one more low here, put your stop here. That could be a possible short on that one. But you got to be pretty quick on this because you got a green PTF over here. So the only reason I would take that is for this. Otherwise, it's sold off a lot already. Okay, so that could be a possible one. All right, GME for a possible long here. Give that a second to load. Okay, there we go. Okay, so let's take a look at this one. And this one is looking better. Okay, wow, look at these huge price bars up here. All right, still kind of a little bit in a channel here. We do have a green PTF, but look, that's been green on the weekly chart for a long time. So the weekly chart's on the right, daily's on the left. So, you know, who knows? It could go sideways for another year or two. So I'm not that impressed with it. Okay, I think there's no sign of a breakout yet. I guess that's what I'm looking for on that. All right, let's keep going here. Bradley, good morning to you. All right, PEP. Let's take a look at that one. I haven't looked at that one before, I don't think. So give that a second. That's loading. And then I want to look at Tesla. Tesla, I actually think is a buy these days. I think the selling got overdone on that one, so I think you're okay. All right, but we'll take a look at it. So this one here looks like it hasn't quite bottomed yet here. It's still heading down. I think it could be setting up at some point for a long trade, so I put this on a watch list. But on the daily chart, you still have an extensive amount of momentum represented by the owl here, and same here. You no longer have a red PTF, so that's a good sign. Now we just want to wait for price to turn around, right? So what I would do to start, put it on a watch list, and let's see if we can get, here's a very short-term trend line, and here is a longer-term trend line over here. So we need to get it above one of these trend lines, specifically this one, and then have this turn green. So I would imagine a pattern will have developed. If it is going to move up off the bottom, something like this, and then this would be your buy zone, okay? So a little bit, keep an eye on it, but it's not quite ready yet, all right? And that trend line's pretty far away, all right? So I kind of would work it like that. All right, Tesla. Give that a sec to load. All right, so Tesla here got a little overdone on the sell-off, and I think basically it's probably due to the political climate and Elon, of course, getting involved in the Doge projects and so forth. But at this particular point, we did find stability where we needed to, right here in the structure, and we're moving off that. And so I think actually this has given us a nice break to get into Tesla. And I think what you have to remember about Tesla, you know, currently everybody thinks about cars, but they are getting very heavily into robotics. The Optimus 3 is their main robotic, almost like a person, for God's sakes. But it's amazing. Apparently, they've worked on that pretty hard. They've made a lot of breakthroughs in the last year on that. So I think robotics is going to be a big play for Tesla going forward. For their first release is going to be in 2026. So, you know, around the corner, they'll probably have a few bugs and work them out. But I think robotics is a big deal coming out. So I like Tesla, and I like the fact that I can get in for a long position, not here, but here is good after the sell-off. So yeah, and we've had stability. We've had the pullback. We've had the rebound. We've taken out support. So this is an immediate buy in my book. Okay. So thank you, Bradley, for bringing that to our attention. All right, Alexander, CELH. I'm going to bring another stock that I wanted to share with you guys too in just a minute. So let that load, Alexander, and we'll analyze that in just a minute. Okay, let's see. I think I'm going to take a couple. Let me take the ATR off these charts. We don't need that on these charts. Let me just take that off. Give me 1 second. Probably load a little faster. In any case, while that's popping up here, so on this one here, let me take that off, and then let me take it off. Give me 1 second. Okay, don't really need those. And we'll make a few adjustments here, bring these down in line. And now we're just pretty good now. Okay, thank you. All right, so let's take a look at this one. Oh boy, that had a nice sell-off too. All right, I think we looked at this before and it was still moving down, but it definitely now, let's see what kind of structure here is on the weekly chart. Yeah, so we got pretty good structure that stopped it here. So that's a good sign. Bounce off that. The only thing that is kind of interesting is we don't really have, is this a bear flag with one more low? Because we really haven't had a bear flag too much. We had one here, maybe one here. So I always like to see at least 1 or 2 bear flags in there before really stating a bottom. But we had good structure here. We have green here. We have green here. So I'm liking that. So if you go long on this, you have to put your stop down here. Okay. So that's pretty far away. But the idea is, let's see where the target certainly could be. Even if this is just a correction, we're talking about probably getting down into this area here of 51 to 69, and we're at 36. So figure maybe up to the 50% mark, 60. So yeah, you probably could take this one. I'm going to put this one down as a buy. And if anybody gets in it and wants me to look at it next week, we can. But I think that's looking pretty good here. All right, so I like that one. Okay, thanks, Alexander. Goodbye. The next one I wanted to share with you guys is NVIDIA. All right, now NVIDIA, of course, sold off like all the rest of the tech stocks. But here we have a situation where we got a nice recovery in place. And I don't have to tell you guys that NVIDIA, of course, is a major player in AI. I think you probably already know that. But in terms of Elliott Wave 3, 4, 5, okay, target for the next high is 170 to 224. We're sitting around 111. All right. And we've got a nice bounce off the bottom. And a nice ABC is pretty apparent here. So everything looks pretty good there. This structure here stopped it. And you can see that structure on this chart too. So I'm thinking, yeah, pretty good. Okay. So NVIDIA is another one I wanted to recommend as well. So that looks pretty good. And then also I wanted to take a look at GBTC because that's one we've talked about. That's the ETF for Bitcoin. And of course, that's moving off its retracement area here. So we're bullish on that. I think probably a high about right around probably 110 to 130 on this one, and we're at 81. So I think Bitcoin is not a bad place to look there as well. And I do own that, of course. So keep that in mind. And then, I wanted to take a look at UNG, which is the ETF for natural gas. Now that's pulled back a little bit, but so far the bottom we're looking at has held, which is down here. So this is one, if you wanted to wait for a little bit more bullishness to come into this, you certainly could. But we're thinking we may have a bottom in natural gas here, and we maybe now have gotten a nice opportunity to get in after a retracement. So you may want to keep that in mind. I would recommend that as well, UNG, at this time. So kind of, I think, some opportunities there. Now on gold, all right, and I'll just bring up the ETF for gold. On gold itself, all right, we've kind of really taken off. Now, are there going to be more highs on gold? Yes. Okay. In terms, I'd say that pretty emphatically, simply because the indicators are telling me more highs are coming. But here's the problem: if you're not already in it, okay, if you're in it, just stay with it. But if you're not already in it and you're not trading it, okay, then just stay with it, because even if it has a pullback, it should recover and go higher. If you're trading this, I would wait for the pullback before going in. So I'm not going to recommend that, simply because I will recommend that after we get one of those significant pullbacks, and it will happen. So let's see what happens with that. Maybe the market will rally, make another high before a major sell-off, and that inverse relationship between gold and the equity market may cause this to pull down a little bit. So we'll see. We'll keep an eye on that. But again, pretty stellar performance overall. Silver, I have to be honest with you, the silver market is a little choppy. All right. Certainly, it's kind of moving up. I mean, if we draw a trend line here, you can certainly see it moving up, basically. All right. Draw it like that for right now. This low, I will redraw it if we break out and make a high. But the way you draw trend lines is through the current marketplace. And actually, this one here, I could redraw as well up to here, right? Because that high didn't break that high. So if anything, it's kind of bracketed right now. Almost a better way to look at this is from the form of a pennant. All right. So if you draw something down like this, and then maybe something like this, all right, that's probably a little bit more of an accurate way of looking at it at this time. Okay. Some people call that a wedge. I call that a pennant. But the PTF is green on this chart below. So that means we should have more highs. It's just that silver is pretty volatile. All right. It's not as clean as gold has been. So just keep that in mind. So I'm not, I know a lot of people say buy, and I get it, but I think if you're going to buy it, you have to look at it as a fairly long-term play. Okay. All right. Anything else? Those are the major ones I wanted to show you for today. I think I got them all. Let me see. I think we're probably pretty good. Okay. So let me just see if there's anything else. All right. Let me see. All right. So I guess I missed these. THIMS. Let's see about these. Let's see what we got cooking here. I'm not sure that's a valid one. And PLTR, let's take a look at that one. All right. So on this one here, looks like more highs are coming. So, we have that. Let's see what we've got for a possible extension to see if this is worthwhile here. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, no, we're pretty close to the target on this one. So I think we're probably going to finish a wave 5 here, which will complete a wave 3 here, because this has not gone red yet. And then we're going to get a wave 4. So I think it would have been better to get in a little bit earlier. So I think it's a little too late on this one. Okay. So I kind of think that's where you kind of got to think about that. All right. Let's keep going here. Oh, okay. HIMS. Sorry about that. Okay. Gina typed in THIMS. So that was not coming up. All right. So let's take a look at this one. All right. So we looked at this before when it was selling off. All right. But now we'll look at it again for another move up. So yeah, it looks like more highs are coming. The only thing is you had good structure here and a breakout on that pyramid. So this would have been the buy. The problem is now it's kind of gotten away from you. So if you can go in now, but you need to have your stop here, you'll probably get a pullback before it goes higher. So is it going higher? According to these indicators, yes. The question is, do you want to wait for a pullback before going in, or just go in and not worry about the pullback and pull it down there? So I'll let you be the decision maker on that. Okay. I don't like to chase markets myself, so I'm not going to recommend this one, but certainly more highs look like they're coming. And at this particular point, we can say probably above this high here. So probably above 61, I guess. Let's see. Or no, that high is 72.98. So say about 73 is the target, which isn't bad because we're at 50. Okay. I would recommend this one if it pulled back a teeny bit to like around 40. And that would be a 50% retracement, anywhere from 43 to 36. So yeah, I like it. I just would wait for the pullback myself. Okay. So no problem on that. All right. So let's see what else we got here. Did I do PLTR? Let's see. I think we did. I think we looked at that. Let's go ahead and take a look at that one. Yeah, this was the one we looked at before on Gene's typo. All right, so let's see what else we got here. Okay, take a look at a couple more here. RDDT. All right, this one, very interesting. I wish there was a little more history on the weekly, but we got a green PTF. This one isn't bad. Okay, we've had a move off the bottom. We've taken out support on the downtrend. We've got a fairly good move down of 5 waves, because that's probably not a wave 4. I don't think it's too big. This seems to have held here on structure. Yeah, I think you could go long on this one. All right. I would target, let's just see what a shorter term target would be on this. Even if the trend down's not over, we should get up to 136 and we're at 107. So I think I'll put that down as a buy. All right, that's RDDT. I think you're getting in at a pretty good position here. Put your stop either at the pyramid, fractal pyramid low here or here. Either one of those will work. All right, let's take a look at NVVS. All right, let me just make sure I typed that in correctly. Is that correct? And is it NVVS? Anyway, that didn't come up for me. NVVS is what I typed in. Yep. All right. Let's see what we got here. So I'm going to put NVIDIA back up here. So NVIDIA to me is a really good play. And I think also Tesla. I think NVIDIA is probably my favorite. Okay. For right now. Okay. Hold on. Let's see what he's got here. NVVE. Okay. NVVE. Okay. Let that pop on up here. Okay. Let's bring these bad boys down here. Okay, so very cheap stock. Probably caught your attention because it went from here to here, right? All right, let's put a few candlesticks on here and just see. All right, so there you have that. Okay, fairly bullish bar ending. The problem with these smaller stocks is, look at this. You've had this. There's been those are either manipulation bars or large orders that came in, and that was the end of it. So you got to be careful about that here. Okay, is it a move off the bottom? Could be, but this is a red PTF, and I would stay away from it for a long trade. So I'm not really, liquidity may not be that great on this one, which is causing those elongated price bars when a large order comes in. But in any case here, I would not do this for the red PTF. Okay. Now, if we get follow through and the PTF changes, fine. But with that red PTF, that kind of is a little bit disarming, so to speak, on a long trade. All right. Well, I think I got them all. Let's see here what we got. Yeah, I think we're good. All right. So perfect. So half an hour. Here we go. All right. So we got Tesla. I do like that one. CELH. We like that one. NVIDIA, NVDA. We like that one. We like the cryptos. Okay. We got, I think, highs coming on those. So GBTC is the ETF for that. UNG, all right, is the natural gas one. UNG, you have to look at it, though, as a long-term play, okay? I think that is not one that's going to move that quick. But long-term, I think the bottom is in. And then RDDT is the other one we like for this week. So great job, everybody. Really good picks. So, you know, when we find a lot of picks like that, that's usually a sign the market is showing some bullishness. So that's a good sign. Whether this bullishness will continue and make new highs is yet to be seen. But certainly those stocks have pulled down enough to make them very attractive, not only to us from a technical standpoint, but also from a value standpoint as well. All right, so good to see everybody. Thanks for being here. And yes, as Gene says, great picks, everyone. Alexander, nice to have you here. You're very welcome. Good to have you here as well as everybody, okay? So you guys take care, and we'll be back next week. And have a good weekend. Take care.